Greetings and welcome again. My name is Linkitao, Communications Director for GatherVerse, and today I'm very privileged to host our second Fireside Chat, and I'm very honored to have one of the most brilliant ladies, at least I consider her one of the most brilliant ladies in technology, and she has done quite a lot, but I won't say much. I will allow her to introduce herself. T-Shoot, we're very happy to have you here. Please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you're here.
Thank you, Lynn and Christopher and everyone who've made this amazing gathering. It's just such a privilege to be here. I have a long and interesting career, and actually, rather than talk about that, because I have a presentation up at the moment on my website, cognizant.ai, where you can see some of my technical history, background, things I've done, things I'm doing. But I've been so inspired listening to the other women talking earlier. I thought I'd bring up a couple of things that probably no one knows about me. And one of them is that, I did have an extraordinary and very privileged background. I was born in Cambridge University town. My dad was a scientist, one of the first people to work on electron microscopes and neuroscience. And by 11, I had become second in a national math competition that was a big deal. But by 18, I have to say, I was thoroughly disillusioned by the opportunities for women in science, mathematics, technology. And I actually came to the US on my gap year and met some very interesting people, started a robotics company. But I just want to, say something that I'm so grateful for all these talks from women so far, because I would not be who I am if I hadn't been fortunate enough to meet the great essayist, poet, equal rights activist, an all-round amazing person, feminist, Audre Lorde. And it was Audre who helped me find my voice and how I could, become who I was supposed to be, despite obstacles of prejudice, not, all of the things that many women have talked about. So I just think that's, something very few people know about me. And I was part of the Audre Lorde Poetry Center, even though I wouldn't say I'm a very proficient poet, but it was the voice. And it was the feeling that, we who are not meant to survive can survive and thrive and change the world. So you can see what, my whole career has been in AI and deep tech. And, there's a brief history of that on my website. But I just wanted to say that because, from my heart, I thank all of you who have spoken and at GatherVerse who are doing this important work.
Thank you so much. We even thank you too for the generous time that you have given us. And please, our audience out there, please go interact with what Tish is doing. I believe she's doing one of the most impactful things in the era of AI. And just to jump on our Fireside Chat, you have been a great advocate for cooperative intelligence. And maybe perhaps can you define for us what cooperative intelligence is and why is it crucial for the future of AI and humanity?
Yes, well, first of all, in biology, all of intelligence is collective and cooperative intelligence. There is no intelligence in biology without that. That is not true in the current trajectory of the development of artificial intelligence, which, as we know, is partly because it's largely driven by economic and cultural and military values that don't value cooperative intelligence. But I have a particular, direction in cooperative intelligence. And again, I've talked about this in detail in other places, but it's this idea of intelligence that cares. Now, just to get, once you say that as a woman, people are immediately putting you in a squishy category. industry. And for me, because I am an AI scientist, even though I do not have a PhD in that, care is not a squishy concept. I mean, at the core, AI is a mathematical marvel, although you don't have to be a mathematician to contribute to AI. And basically, some of the first work that I've done to create Cognizant, which is a simulator for AI scientists of all ages and cultures, and citizen scientists and professional, to explore new models of intelligence on the continuum of artificial and natural intelligence. I've had to really formalize this and make a mathematical instantiation of care. And that's I think one of the the challenges in AI at the moment is I mean, I've been around a long time in tech, and AI is one of the most, it's dominated, and the leaders are very few, and they're pretty much all in the same bag. And this has affected its development. I mean, you're probably all well aware of the emphasis on cognition. um, and even now, I mean, one of the things that's very important about care, one of the things we see in biology is care is it what allows us to have cooperative agents, and agents who are basically respectful of other agents' goals in both synthetic and natural evolution. And we're at this moment in, I think I live in Silicon Valley, so everyone in Silicon Valley is like completely drunk on agentic AI, but very few people are thinking about this idea of how agents need to have this, you could call it artificial empathy, this notion of care, and to be able to cooperate safely and beneficially to themselves, others, and society and humans. And one of the things that I really do draw on biology, because biology does give us it gives us the formalisms you need, because AI really, I mean, the level I work at is about these mathematical formalisms and how you can innovate at that level. And basically, we know in biology what goes wrong when one way you can you see it in biology is that homeostatic feedback loops, where how cells and people and societies understand and get the feedback to behave in ways that are beneficial. And you see in when cells go wrong, this is where you get things like cancer. One of the things I do, I like to point out is that, we know from our individual experience when, the addiction actually breaks down the homeostatic loops of care in individuals. And, I think this is one of the things that happens if you have AI solely motivated by, ideas of, great wealth or greed and power and violence, and an addiction to that's not just about the few individuals that lead the technological progress, but a society that thinks that's, like sort of codependency. You are going to have very, very dangerous breakdown of homeostasis in society. So that's sort of an overview of why I'm so interested in concepts of care for artificial intelligence. Oh, I can't hear you. I actually can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm unmuted now. Yeah, so when I listen to you, I see a leader who is admirable and who is doing something impactful for humanity, and the aspect of care. That is what we need right now, right? And I just want to ask you something, and I want to go back to history and what you've been doing so far. I know of your works in XR and AI, and I am curious to find out, what is the relationship between AI and XR at the intersection of humanity and care, if you?
Okay, well, there is obviously a very strong connection there. And I don't know if anyone here saw the Jensen's NVIDIA keynote, and he talked about this next layer of AI being the physical AI and robotics, right? And they've, produced a wonderful platform, simulation platform for people to explore this, physical world of robotics and AI. But one of the things that I think is going to be very, very important, because this is basically, XR is really, and in my background in XR, it comes when you have all these sensor inputs of the world and computer vision, and it's when AR interacts with the real world. But if you don't have a concept on care in that situation, you're going to we're going to find ourselves quite likely with some very sociopathic robots. Because if you think about how we talk about care in human society, basically we use terms of empathy, like empathy, and the opposite of that is sociopathic behavior. So if we cannot build in this idea of care and agents that actually can, support it, collective intelligence and goals that are beneficial to beneficial goals, we do lead ourselves to a situation we might have a very, some very sociopathic robots. So, there's many ways of putting this, but when I think about it in the terms of robotics and this relationship to the inputs of the real world, I think perhaps this notion of artificial empathy is going to be quite important. And so, I think it's really, really important as we go into this world where we have, robots, we have agents, and we have humans all interacting, that if we do it all from the perspective, and this is another problem I feel with the sort of alignment and safety approaches to AI. If we think this can be done as a top-down rule-based thing, I think we're making a big mistake. As human beings, we don't even have consensus on what moral ethical behavior is. And we've kind of degenerated historically into, us good, them bad. It's like, it's really quite crude. So I think this is something very deep, very important. And again, because I'm working in AI, I am working on how can you make a mathematical instantation of artificial empathy for robotics, etc. Or in the XR world, these, the agents that will increasingly appear very, very human, which might not be a good thing, considering our behavior.
Yeah, definitely. Tish, I would like us to go on because there's so much wisdom to learn from you, and there's so much to just learn from me. It's very, very charismatic to hear you speak about humanity, to hear you speak about empathy, care, and I would encourage our audience, please connect with Tish, find out what she's doing. She's doing some of the most amazing things in the world of technology. We were very happy to have you and humbled and honored. We look forward to have you soon again. Maybe this I can call this a very good round off, and I will leave it to the next panel. Thank you, Tish. We really honor you and appreciate you.
If you go to my website, I do have a very recent presentation up on Cognizant. It has some of the ideas, and please ping me. We need to do this together.
Yeah, together we can.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.